Hello everyone, today we'll be looking at the military tactic PakFront. PakFront was used firstly by the Germans in the Second World War before it was adapted by the Soviets for the same explicit purpose of targeting and destroying armored vehicles. Let's begin the analysis. As you can see, this is the normal distribution of an anti-tank. 10 anti-tank guns which are distributed across a front line. They're distributed rather evenly. However, as you're about to see, this will cause some problems once armor gets involved. Once armor gets involved, this results in only a small portion of the front line actually being able to engage in that firefight. Furthermore, guns that are further out will have less penetrative power due to them being further away and will be more inaccurate. Thus, the tanks actually in this situation would have a distinct advantage where not all of the enemy's resources can be utilized. Thus, they're able to pound some of the tank guns that are closer to them without being destroyed by the other guns which are not able to be maneuvered out of their positions and thus cannot be used. Now let's examine PakFront. PakFront would be a collection of 10 guns that would all be commanded by one officer. This one officer would then indicate when all of the guns would simultaneously fire, like in an ambush. This would be done in a concentrated spot, almost like a fort, so that once enemy armor got close enough to the fort, the commander, who would be hiding in ambush under camouflage, and with all these guns of course being camouflaged themselves, would suddenly release the ambush, pounding all of the tanks very quickly and hopefully destroying them before the tanks get a chance to respond and then to destroy the vulnerable anti-tank guns. This was further adapted by the Soviets to concentrate their fire on heavy units that their smaller caliber anti-tank guns couldn't otherwise penetrate. In this situation, let's say a Tiger tank is amongst a field of Panzer IVs. What the Soviets would in turn do is to fire all of their weapons, or at least the majority of them, in a PakFront at them at the Tiger at the same time. Whereas it would usually take a couple shots to demobilize a Tiger, it would be an instant catastrophic kill for the Soviets, thus taking out a serious threat. I do not want to understate how important the ambush is, as even though you're concentrating a lot of your fire from one distinct point, you still need to keep up the ambush. That's the whole point. You need to catch your enemy off guard here. And so if you don't have, let's say, adequate camouflage, or you're not in a good enough spot for an ambush, PakFront can fail sometimes miserably. Here's a quick demonstration on PakFront in action on a game called Steel Division 2. Here, I wait with my 10 anti-tank weapons to fire upon one truck that is coming down the road, in a form of concentrated fire, although it was a bit unnecessary. However, after this, you can see something that is something you do not want to happen, and that is where there is something behind, let's say, on the tank column, and you haven't let it come close enough to then pound it with the rest of your guns. So in this situation, I had only a few of my guns, I think in this case 2 of my guns that could actually fire upon that T-34 back there, and I lost those 2 guns due to it. So let's just examine PakFront opening up once more on that T-34 to show you how, in a situation where one gun cannot defeat it and you can see all the shots bounce, you should just pound it, and eventually one of those shots will get through, which was a strategy that worked really well for the Soviets, and you can see why it works well here. So why did it take so long for them to come up with PakFront? Shouldn't it be obvious to hold your weapons, to then fire at the enemy once they come closer? Well, PakFront's got a couple problems. First of all, if you look at overall output of shots, you're actually shooting less shots, so you have less chances to penetrate the enemy's armor. Although obviously those shots have a higher chance of going through, you're still getting less out because even though you see them, you are not shooting. This also gives the enemy opportunity to make the first move. This is something you do not want, because if the enemy shoots at you first with a 76mm gun, you're dead. Which is why you really have to hope that your camouflage works. And if you don't have an adequate surrounding for this, you can really get pounded by enemies who see you first and don't let you spring your trap. So I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope this was informative on how the PakFront strategy worked in World War II. Subscribe, you know, all the usual. Thanks. Goodbye.